I must have
No
been
carbs.
must have
Okay.
lost 5 pounds.
I think it's working.
Yes,
Okay.
I was losing
My
weight
Rascus
until I
apron.
came here.
Oh, when you have a cook like the Dean, it's impossible, just impossible to lose. You may gain, but not lose.
And I'll have to go on a crash
Oh, I
diet.
didn't, did I put the pie in?
You don't have a skill, do you?
I do too.
Where do you have
I'm
it?
afraid to get
In
on
my
it.
bathroom.
So you're going
Okay,
to tell
I
the
have to
story
go
now
on
about how
tomorrow
the Waltuchs got
morning.
to
Get
Vienna.
on it.
So let's
And
go
then
back
home and die.
one
Well, we
generation.
did walk, we did some walking.
Yeah.
back
I'm in the
and
wrong
forth,
place.
but-
I'll move, I'll switch with you.
I need Dad to switch, actually.
Let's get back one generation.
Oh, you, actually, yeah.
There was a
That's fine.
family
You just
living in a town, a border town, called Waltuch. And they had a young couple, the rabbi and his wife, who got there, and he had 3 daughters. And one of the daughters name was Rachel. And she
This was
met
the daughter of the rabbi of
a
Waltuch.
Woloszewska wolf.
Now, wait a minute, say the Bobby Waltuch's father, he was a rough,
Yeah, the Woloszewska wolf.
and they lived in Waltuch?
Yes.
I thought they lived in Scarlet.
No. Scarlet, not them.
That's
He's
what
talking
Simon told
about-
me.
Huh?
That's what Simon told me.
Simon.
I don't think you need to listen to each other. I don't think you're
Okay.
listening to each other.
I'll tell you about that. So one of the brothers of Moshe Lake lived in Scarlet. Anyway, so she married the guy.
That'd be ridiculous.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
She married the guy, a great Talmudic scholar, and no business at all. And she was a tough woman, and she ran an inn, and they moved to the Austrian part across the border, because the Waltuchs were Austrian, while the Goldsteins were Russian. And they had an inn, which a lot of Jewish people have. You know, you hear names like Schenker. These were people in a bar were called a Schenk. But these guys, all their ancestors had the restaurant. Anyway, they had an inn, and they did very well. Now, Zadie Zedek was the youngest of 7, and he moved. They lived near them, and then came the war, World War I, and they decided, like many, they had to leave. Now, at that time, he had 2 sisters. One was Tante Esther, who was a widow with 2 girls. One was Tante Edith, who had lost her husband, also was a Talmud Chochem, but she lost him for 2 years, couldn't find him while the war was going on. So he had 2 sisters with 4 children, himself, his wife, and Max and Mary. Now, they tried to get railroad tickets, but all the railroads were taken by the military, by the army. So they found the guy, Shmuel the Balagola.
Who?
Shmuel the Balagola, the wagon driver. The wagon driver.
So he had one of these old wagons with staffs there, straw there, and they had a cover. And they left the town, and slowly it took him about 3 or 4 weeks to come to Vienna.
What year was this?
This was in 1950.
15.
Yeah. You see what happened? The war started. The Austrians drove the Russians, and then the Russians came in and took all of Galicia, all of southern Poland. And then they were driven out, and the Cossacks said, "Be coming back, we're going to kill you all." So a lot of them went there. So there were all these people in that one wagon, and they went from town to town, and at night they stayed up late. When they came to Budapest, one of the horses died. So they had to get another horse. And but Rachel was the businesswoman, and she had gold coins.
She had what?
Gold
Gold
coin.
She had
coins.
her money put in gold. And every so often, they cashed one of them. Anyway, they came to Vienna, and the guy left them off in front of Zirkusgasse 1.
That's where we live.
That's where we
Yes.
live.
Yeah, and left them off with all the baggage down, all of it down. They paid them off and they left. And there was Zelig.
I just want to know, Bobby Waltuch's family lived in Waltuch or in Scarlet?
Lived in Waltuch. In Scarlet lived Zelig's older brother, Abe. So anyway, so they managed to get one apartment for all of them, and then they got a second apartment, a third apartment, and he was a very capable man, and he had to support 3 families. And then he wrote a letter to his brother Joe in the United States.
He
He
lives in
says,
St.
Joe,
Louis.
it's time for you to pitch in. I got them all. Take one of them. So Andesta came to the States. So there was, and Yidis was their 2 boys, and Rachel was their 2 boys, and they lived in one apartment. And so Zelig started selling shirts, pants, and stuff like this. And then they start making it, and what they did was, on the dining room table, Bobby Sarah had the patterns and cut out the merchandise, and they had home workers, you know. If you didn't have any workers, people would come and get a bundle and make it. And he became very successful.
You have a story?
I remember when she used to pack all these packages.
Yeah. And housing was terrible. You have to figure Vienna, a city of 1.8 million or so, 400,000 refugees came from all over, not only Jews, non-Jews. 2, 3 families lived in a small apartment. And if I remember right, the sleeping was married. There was a little room. There was a bedroom and a small room that they used to call a cabinet. That's where Mary slept. Max slept where the merchandise was. Open up a bed, and Elaine slept in a bed. Had a small bed where her parents were.
And where were you?
He didn't live with them.
You didn't live with them.
They weren't married.
They were married.
yet.
Oh,
This
okay.
was after the first.
She wanted to know
World
where
War.
you were.
They weren't married yet.
Now, then they
And he was
moved,
born here.
and they really built a big business. And Zedek was very smart, and Max was very good running it up their operation. And then first they moved to an apartment on the Taberstrasse, close to the Stephanie. And then they moved into, that's one, number 12, Zagergasse. They took a whole floor in a big building. There were 2 sides. One side was a business, and the other side was the apartment. So when they want to go to work, they crossed 10 steps. And they were doing real well. In the meantime, his sister Yidis, who hadn't found her husband yet, she had chutzpah, came to Zelig and says, listen, you got a good business. I want you to teach me the business, and I want to go in the same business with my son. He says, you're going to be competition. He says, all right. So he taught her the same manufacturing, cheap shirts and pants and so on. And then she found the husband showed up after 2 years.
Where was he?
What?
Where was he?
In Russia, you know, he was one of these guys with a beard down to here, and he mumbled. And Helene told me, says, when you talk to him, whatever he said, not, because none of us can understand him. So, but the 2 sons, they were capable, and they had a good business. And
So she started a business too.
yeah, she started the business.
What happened to
what
those
year are we
2
talking
sons?
about?
His two sons were in the business this year.
No, but were they killed?
No, the sons, one was Herman in New York,
Oh, Herman.
and the other one was Adolf. They were in the business.
These were Newman? No.
Newman.
Newman.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's Louis Newman's grandfather.
Yeah, yeah. And they made it to Italy, and then from Italy they made it to New York. And they went in the zipper business.
Yeah, I remember.
And that's why Louis came into the zipper
The
business.
zippers.
Reconditioning zippers. There was a shortage of
We used to buy the jackets from
So-
You're talking now
Here in
the-
St. Louis,
the 30s
So,
in
no.
St. Louis
Helene and
in the
me,
40s.
yeah, we went to New York and spent a whole evening and half the night, and we wrote a book about zippers. You know, the size of the zippers, the kind of the zippers. Some zippers don't open up, they're closed zippers. Some open in two parts. And that where Louis, when he came here, we brought him the book, and he went in that business. What they did was, they went to the big schmatter people, and they would send a bale of
Take the zippers down.
Yeah, we went to
clothing.
the Hoffmans and we bought
Yeah.
it there.
And they would buy,
And
get a bale, and
So
they
they started
paid, the
this-
gamble to pay $50 for a bale. They had women open it up, and if they
And
were
used to
lucky,
rip
they
out
found
all
a
the
lot of
zippers.
stuff with zippers,
They
ripped out the
separated
zippers.
Those were metal zippers at that time.
Yeah.
They didn't have plastic
That's how the
zippers.
whole
They
business
ripped,
started though.
they ripped out the zippers, and then what they did with them, they reconditioned them. There was a guy there, a German Jew, he was a dentist, he put teeth in.
Oh my goodness.
And then Max and me went downtown to a dyer. That's how we started the jacket business.
Amazing.
We went to a dyer. We
and you
take the
dyed
zippers to the ladies, ready to wear manufacturers. But the guy would says, I want them blue. So there was a guy that's out in blue, pink, whatever. And Louis was sitting there singing. That was his big sing. And he had a bunch of spots. And they worked, and it was a business.
And that's the whole jacket business started,
Yeah.
Yeah.
with zippers.
No, we looked for business. We looked for business, and we decided that we needed business with a smaller amount of sections. You see, you got a pair of pants, there are more parts to it. Jackets, especially we made leather jackets.
All you need is
We only
one
got
business.
8 sections. So to start a line of making them, you needed 8 people or 10 people. And we got a store on Union and Union Avenue, in Eastern Union. They got a store, and they got some
Got 3 machines.
got some machines, and we learned the business. But so the brothers, Sadie Zelig had 2 brothers, Joe in America
Yeah.
and his brother Abe in Scotland.
Abe. Where was Abe?
In Scotland, in this
That
town.
was
But he
not
came here,
Simmer's
there wasn't
father.
Uncle
Huh?
Abe here.
That was not Simmer's father.
No.
So where did Abe?
Where's Simmons?
Simmons' mother was related
Oh, yes, Simmons'
to,
mother.
to Mrs. to Bobby Sarah. She
Oh,
wasn't a
her
Waltuch,
name was Chaya.
huh?
Simmer's
Yeah.
mother's name was Chaya.
But
Wait,
she
where-
was
What
not.
happened to this Abe? Was he killed?
No, he was there, and yeah, they all
Must
got
have been
He
killed.
was killed in,
yeah.
but there's no,
There's
So
a-
what? Wait, where was he killed?
during the Holocaust.
Okay.
And then they had the older sister, Rachel, was killed. What was her name? Not Rachel. And one other sister was killed too.
But that was Yidis
And Esther
and Esther,
and Chaya.
Chaya.
And the fourth one,
Kayla.
Kayla.
That was not
Kayla was
Kayla.
the smart one.
Did somebody
was-
put all of their names in Israel in the
Huh?
Holocaust Museum? They're trying to get the names of everybody who was
Yeah,
killed.
yeah.
Kayla.
Do they-
Kayla
were
was
their
Catholic
names
in
put
the
in?
gymnasium.
Yeah.
Not by, were their names
They
put
have
in by
several,
you?
there's several million names already they have.
Did you put their names in Israel?
No, they didn't.
My cousin.
Really,
Leah-
everybody should do that, put any
my
names they
cousin
know.
Leah did that.
For your side.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Waltuchs, nobody else.
Waltuch side.
Here you got the Waltuch side, because, so they came to Vienna and they started the business, they're successful. And Zelig was, I really admired the man. When Hitler marched in on Friday, Erev Shabbos, he
Shabbos
went
morning.
to the post office,
It was Friday night.
yeah, Friday night,
Friday night,
and
Shabbos
sent the
morning.
cable to his brother,
To Joe.
to Joe.
Where was Abe? Was he still alive then?
Who?
Abe.
The brother?
He was back in Poland.
Oh, he was in Poland.
They lost completely. They
They
wrote
lost
it out
the-
as letters. There was
I
no.
thought there was
con-
an Uncle Abe here.
Yeah,
Uncle
that's
a
Abe
different-
Waltuch.
that's a
Abe
different-
Spicer, that was Tante
That's-
Gosh's
yeah.
husband.
So
Because I remember Uncle Abe and
one
Uncle
sister
Joe.
was Gosha that came here. That let me finish up with the Waltuchs. So whoever was there didn't make it. But Zedek used to tell a story that when the oldest sister, when Yidis, I think, or the other sister, got married, his mother couldn't come to the wedding because he was born. They had children every 3 years or every 7, anyway.
So he went to, when Hitler invaded,
Who? Yeah,
he went to the post office the next day and sent a
Yeah.
telegram to Joe.
said that, yeah.
And to bring them over here?
Yeah, tell him, you
That's
have
what
to
my
have
father
papers,
did.
you have to leave.
That's what my father did, to write to Uncle
The other
Sam to
thing,
bring
the other
us
thing
over.
was, in Europe, there was the custom to give
Not for- we
dowries,
wouldn't be
not,
alive.
and Zedek had given Mary her nothing when she married Lou, and she got an apartment, the furniture and all that. And then he started collecting, putting money away for Helene. And he put it in an account in her name. Well, by the time Hitler came, it was 10 years later, there was a sizable amount of money. The Nazis came in the next day to the business and took it away. There was a commissar, and he said to Zelig and to Max, "You can work for me and I'll pay you a salary." So they was taking their stuff in suitcases to Antietas, and then one Sunday they left by train. But Max couldn't go. See, Zelig had a great break. That his family was Russian born, and Russia had an open quota because under the communists no Russians came out, so he could go straight. Max was born in the Polish part,
Max was born in Woluszczyk.
in Podvoliches.
I don't know, Woluszczyk.
Wassenowski is Polish.
Wait. Podvoliches was the Russian part. Podvoliches was the Austrian part. It's like St. Louis and East St. Louis.
I didn't know that.
Max couldn't come, but Max got himself a ticket on a plane and went to Paris. Said, first of all, let me get up to the money. So one day, Helene had real light blonde hair. She went to this was the postal saving, and took out the whole money. Now, if Zelig would have gone, they wouldn't have given it there. And then they went home and they dug a hole behind under the sink and put all the money in there. And then this was a business. Jews went this business. If you were lucky, you got 30 cents on the dollar. Sometimes you only get 20. So they got their money out. And the one thing the Nazis permitted, whenever you want to go, you would go first class, anything. You could buy tickets. Because basically people don't understand that originally Hitler wanted one thing. He wanted Germany and Austria Judenreich. Get rid of the Jews. He didn't want to kill them. Our great democratic countries, England and France, United States, there was a conference of Evian. where they got together to discuss what to do about the Jews. And they said, we don't want them. Where Himmler and Heydrich had the famous conference on Wednesday in Berlin and came up with a final solution. The final solution was start the camps. So Zadie Zelig and Sarah and Elaine went to Paris. Max showed up there too, and they were hoping, they were waiting for Max. But they waited 3 months or more, and they had a good time there. Elaine met some interesting people, and Max too. And Zadie Zelig was friendly with a rabbi there. They had a good time. And then they went, and they had tickets on the Queen Mary, first class. Zadie Zelig said, "The ausgeworfene Geld, it's thrown away money, let's go first class." And they came to the States, stayed a week or so in New York, and they came to St. Louis. Max took him about 5 or 6 months till his quota came through, and he went.
He was on the Queen Mary too?
No, they were on the Queen Mary, but he went by a regular ship. It was
They
longer
were
than
married
that.
already.
Huh?
Mary and Louis were married already.
Yeah. Mary and Louis came to Antwerp. I was in Antwerp because we didn't have any relatives in America. My family went Prague, Budapest, Zagreb. They were Austrians, they stayed in the Austrian Empire. They went to the big city, Prague and so on. But we found a second cousin, and he sent us paper. He lived in Newark, sent us paper, and we went to Antwerp. 3 days after Kristallnacht, we got on a train, my mother and us, and went to the border town between Germany and Belgium, Aachen. And there was guys there in a hotel that was smuggling you across the border. So long story short, three times we went, twice we were caught. But anyway, coming back, my brother Ernie didn't want to go to America. I was accepted to the Hebrew University for the class of 1939. But I made the decision, I'll show you someday the certificate I got. But I made up my mind, I wanted to go where Elaine was. So the cousin sent the papers, and I had to work my term. So, but Ernie left, got accepted at the Technion, and he left in May of '39. And Max was still in Paris because I wrote Max a card, take him around. So Ernie went.
How did you even know where he was?
Elaine and me were in correspondence.
correspondence.
At Max's address. And then, so he went to Paris, Marseille, and Haifa in '39. The quota was bad at that time, and I got my tickets. I paid for my own tickets. We sent money out to Switzerland. There was a businessman, he knew Zadie Zelig, and I think he went with him too.
Who sent money to Switzerland?
No, let me explain you. The Jews in Vienna, you got somebody, the ship take the money out, but you needed a place who is going to give it to him. I mean, otherwise he goes about so you had to have a person. Now in the 20s and 30s, the style in Vienna was to marry Budapest, Vienna, and Zurich intermarry. This was it. The girls all wanted to go to Budapest to this. So there was this guy called Weiss, and his daughter, beautiful redhead, married a man in Zurich. And we all sent our money to him. I want to sidetrack a minute. In must have been 1960, I got a call from this man from New York. I had written him and everything. And I got my money from him. We got our money out. He says he's in New York and he's come here. He got $3 million left and he doesn't know where to go. And he says, I'm in my 70s. I want you to come to New York and help me find relatives. About 15 of us showed up. And we found like relatives, like somebody would say, so-and-so. Didn't his sister Mary Chaim Yosef's one? He found, and $1 million he gave to the people. Whoever the relatives. These were people that didn't get out. The others he gave to Israel. That was a real mensch. He could take these $3 million.
Sure.
There was no papers. You see, we had to send the money like this.
Why couldn't the Waltuchs get any money from the business that they had in Vienna? My mother said that
Because very simple. The next day the guy came in and the business was gone. He was a commissar, a Nazi, and he took all the business. The only money they had was Helene's nut. And I'll tell you a funny story that happened when we bought our house, first house.
But why with all these reparations that Austria and Germany have been giving back?
They don't give for businesses. They never gave for businesses.
I thought they were giving some for this.
They
They
give
gave
for
you-
people.
They gave
No,
us
I thought they were
Disrupted
giving-
business.
They gave us money. We got money. For example, the survivors, we got one time $7,000 for our apartment and $7,000 for the business. You know, I mean, that's what they decided. We sent in the paper. I think Erna got too money for that.
But very little.
Well, listen. So anyway, I want to tell you a story. So we bought the house on Warren. And Zadie Zaley came up to me and gave me a check for $5,000. We were doing well. He was this. I said, I don't want to take the money. You can use it. He says, it bothered me all the year that Helene didn't get her nut.
No.
Yeah.
So that's something.
So anyway,
All right, I have to go.
so that's how
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
the family got. Now, this is a Waltuch family. Because you want to
Before
go,
you start, Simon told me that her sister Kayla and her mother lived in Scarlet.
yeah, but that wasn't the Waltuchs. That was the Lukacs. Sim is not related to the Waltuch.
She
Sim is,
is too. She's a
Sim is-
niece. She's Bubby's niece, Bubby's Waltuch's
but-
niece.
But Sim is related on
on the mother's,
On-
on
on
Bobby
Bobby's
Sarah's
side.
on
side.
Bubby Sarah's
He
side.
was talking
She's
about
not a
Lugac.
Waltuch.
Not on
the
the
Waltuch.
She's a DeLugach.
Now, you wanted the Lukacs, I can give you that story too.
Sure,
All right?
sure. We met some of them in
Yeah,
California.
But Lukacs is an interesting story. Bobby Sarah's father was a wealthy lumberman, and he floated lumber down the rivers. And they had 5 sons.
Who's this now?
His name was Hillel.
Uncle Layla.
Bobby-
Hillel was Bubby Waltuch's father.
Yeah.
Right.
that's
Okay,
what
I
I'm
got
talking
that.
about. So he was in the lumber business, and they had 5 sons. They had 6 sons and 1 girl. Bobby Sarah's mother, Idle,
Yeah.
took the little boy and the little girl, which is Bobby Sarah, to visit relatives. Epidemic came and all 5 boys died.
Oh my gosh.
What?
All 5 sons died.
Oh.
And the only son
What'd
that
they die?
survived was
Some
Uncle
epi-
Melo.
What
Yeah.
kind of
Those were the
epidemic?
only 2 left?
No,
from-
no. After Bobby Sarah, they had sisters. They had
Kayla and Kaya.
Chaya had two daughters.
I didn't know that story.
Yeah. So they were left. There was 1 boy and 3 girls.
And Uncle Melech was the boy.
Yeah, was a boy.
What did
Another
they?
5
Well,
sons
Died
died.
from this epidemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they die of?
Was it cholera?
cholera.
Oh, that's why it was so quick.
And somehow it affected children more than
Yeah,
grown-ups.
Yeah.
So,
they dehydrate much quicker.
Is that what it is?
so they,
Diet
Bobby
dehydration.
Sarah came, decided to take to Vienna, and Uncle Maylor came.
Wait, you'll have to
And he
repeat
started
that when
in
I
the
come
lumber
back.
business.
Do you want it? Should we wait? Yeah.
And-
If you'll remember.
Where he stopped, I don't know.
What?
Adina wants to hear this part. Can you wait until she comes back? You'll remember where you are? Okay.
That's
All
good.
right,